Hi everyone, and welcome to And So On Knitting Edition. My name is Lisa, and today I have a whole bunch of knitting to show you. All right, so it's so funny because in my last few videos, a few people have said, oh, what are you knitting on right now? What's going on with your knitting? And I literally was like, I have no interest in knitting. It's way too hot. I haven't finished the 2 projects I started during quarantine. I'm just like, not interested. And then all of a sudden, I just fell into a knit hole and I haven't got back out again. Seriously, I don't even know what it is, but maybe we had 1 or 2 cooler days and now all I want to do is knit. Now I have cut a Callie shirt dress in that Atelier Brunette viscose that I showed you. And I did cut it at that midi length. So I do have that cut and I will probably sew that up. So I would say expect that next week. But right now I'm just knitting a ton. I'm knitting so much that I actually have to be really careful I don't hurt myself. Not even joking. So last year I ended up with a bit of tennis elbow and my hands and wrists can get sore. And so I'm really trying to, be really mindful about that because I literally can start knitting and hours can go by and I don't even notice. Like I get not obsessed with it. It's not an obsessive thing. It's just like I kind of zone out and I just love that process. Okay, so I have 2 finished objects to show you and some works in progress and some acquisitions. Let's go. So first off, I have this finished object, and this is called the Mazae sweater by Amelie Designs. And it's a little puff sleeve sweater, and I'll put in some pictures of me wearing it so you can see. I made this from my Knit Crate. So if you guys have watched me before, you know that I'm an ambassador for Knit Crate, and so they send me the crate every month to try out and to see how I feel about it. This is turned out so great because this design is done in Suri alpaca, and this I believe is Suri alpaca. No, it's baby alpaca, but like it kind of got a similar thing to it. So this is the, let's see here, will focus? Yep, that's the tag. So it's called La Brevis Light Alpaca in Ancient Pines. This I actually got, I think, during quarantine, but I just didn't have a chance to knit it up. And with the Knit Crate, you get 2 skeins of whatever it is. And so I knit this out of the 2 skeins. I actually have like a teeny tiny little ball left over. So I probably could have made the sleeves a little bit longer, but I'm good with that. And this is fingering weight. So it's 365 meters, 400 yards. So I had 800 yards with my Knit Crate. I made the size small, like the second, I think it was like extra small. So whatever the second size is, I made. It's kind of cool in that you start it kind of like well, that's not a raglan. You bind off here at the shoulder and then you pick up triple the number of stitches out of the shoulder so that you create this kind of puff sleeve. Now somehow I didn't end up with as many stitches in my sleeve as was in the pattern, but I was kind of okay with that because I was a little bit unsure about if I was going to be able to have enough yarn, even though I totally did. And then right at the end, you do a big decrease row, and then you do the 1-in-1 ribbing at the end. And then the length is, so this is my natural waist right here, and there's my belly button. So it's like just below the belly button. I wanted it to fit with a pair of jeans. That's what I was looking at, was sort of hit right at my waistline. And my battery died. So I've just spent some time recharging my battery. We'll see how long that lasts. But it is too hot for me to wear this right now. It's nice and cool in the mornings, especially right now in Spain, where we are in Spain, but it's still very hot in the afternoons, like 25, 26, 28, 29, and people are on the beach still and everything like that. So, but this gives me a chance to show you a little more about the construction. So if you can see here, you bind off these stitches at the shoulder and then you knit into them and add more stitches. So you're adding triple the stitches, which allows you to have this sort of more voluminous sleeve. Now, I think I knit the sleeve maybe, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 centimeters, maybe 5 centimeters shorter than what they said in the pattern, mostly because I was concerned about running out of yarn. I don't think I have my little ball, but I only have like this much left. And then I did the 1-by-1 rib at the end. I did 1-by-1 rib at the bottom as well. I've only steam blocked this, so it's still a little lumpy in spots, but it does have It does have short rows at the back. And again, you can see that nice line there along the sleeve where you then pick up. So I really liked the construction of this. This was super quick. I finished it probably in about maybe less than 2 weeks for sure, and I was knitting on other things at the same time. This 100% baby alpaca is very soft. By the way, I did learn that baby alpaca just means that it's the finest hairs from the alpaca, not that it's actually from babies. So that's good. I think I can absolutely wear this against my skin, like with a tank top, and I can also layer it over a long sleeve top in the winter. So I love this color, this pine color. I hope it's coming out as rich as it is. There you go. I think that looks richer. It's a very rich green, almost a forest green. And yeah, so this pattern I got when it first came out, and it was free for the first week. So I actually didn't pay for this pattern. It came out in December. It's now a paid pattern, but I will link below. I have a couple of other projects using Knit Crate as well, but I wanted to mention that if you'd like 20% off to try the Knit Crate, which is how I originally found it, I found it from Mina, the knitting expat, and followed her link and got 20% off. So if you would like to try it, I know some of my other subscribers have, and they've really liked it a lot. If you've liked it, do put below, that'd be great. So you get 2 full skeins. Here is another one. And this, my daughter is knitting socks. Actually, she's crocheting herself socks. This is gorgeous saturated pink. And this is 100% cotton. And the funny thing is when she crocheted it up, it almost felt like velvet. Like it had that, I wouldn't, if someone had said, what is this fiber? I don't know that I would have guessed cotton. It definitely has more of a give to it than I almost felt like a cotton velvet. Anyway, that's that. So this is how it comes, and you get 2 skeins. You also get patterns and stitch markers and like little gifts and stuff like that. But I've more than once managed to get a full garment out of it. And like I said, I didn't make the smallest size. So you could certainly get like a little t-shirt or a tank top or whatever out of whatever your Knit Crate happens to be that month. Okay, my other finished object are these socks. And let me get the name right. These are the Golden Garden Socks by Fairlight Fibers. This is a free pattern. And which one here? So, okay, let me hold it up for you first. So you can see that there is color work here. So can you see the hearts? And then, so it starts with a rib, then there's the color work section, and then you have a knit 6, purl 3 rib. There is a full heel with gusset, which I know that you guys are always an advocate of, and then knit down to the bottom, and then you use the Kitchener to bind off. So this probably is one of my best fitting socks. They still don't fit like I would wear socks in shoes, and maybe that's my project for the winter, is to figure that out. Like I said, this is a free pattern. The reason why I picked them is because you'll see in my upcoming projects that I'm gonna start my first colorwork sweater, and I thought, as I've never done a colorwork pattern before, I should maybe try to try it on a smaller project. So this is all leftover yarn. This yarn here, this bottom yarn, is from Treliz. I got it at Barcelona Knits last year, and this is the color Lady Marmalade, and it is a merino cashmere nylon. And then the brown is from Leo and Roxy, and they have a great podcast if you haven't seen it. The Little Red Mitten is the name of their shop, and the name of their hand-dyed yarns is Leo and Roxy, which is Carrie's Birds, I believe, are Leo and Roxy, I think. And so I had this from Toronto, like I brought it from Toronto, and I made another pair of socks for Lily, and this is what's left over. And actually there's even a little more left over that I'm putting into another project. So, in this case, you've got a real low volume contrast. Obviously with a higher volume contrast, it might pop a little more, but for me, really the idea was just to practice doing color work. So once I did color work, and if I have a picture, I'll put it in, and it was another pair of socks that were the Visco socks, I want to say they were called, and they were super cute. It was 3 colors, and I thought I was knitting it loosely, and then I couldn't get it over my foot, and I got completely discouraged and just stopped trying color work. So This was my second try. So which is the first sock? I can tell because, okay, so this was the first sock and I went up. So I knit my socks on 2.0s. So instead of going up, they said to go up to 2.5 for your color work. I went up to 2.25 and I was really loose. And you can see like the shape at the top is really wide because I was just like, I don't know, I was just trying to be really, really loose. And then once I felt a little more confident that, okay, like you don't have to have it that loose, I just tightened it up a little bit. So then on the second sock, that's much more consistent. Like you can see the shape is much more consistent. And there are my floats on the inside. So I was trying to be really mindful of those. I have not blocked these yet. Honestly, I don't generally block my socks. Mostly because my socks tend to be too big for me anyway. Oh yeah, so how did I make them fit better? So the last time I talked about socks, you guys, some of you said that you went down to 46 stitches on a 2.0. And I was like, oh, really? Really? So when I started off with the normal, because of course the colorwork pattern is for 60 stitches. So this top part is in 60 stitches. And then when you get down here and you pick up along, when you pick up along there and then you start knitting this, doing the decreases to get back to your size, the number of stitches you had before. So after you pick it up, you then decrease, decrease, decrease to get back to ostensibly 60 stitches. I kept going and I ended up doing 54. So 54 stitches on a 2.0, I would say fit me in the foot better than any other sock has. So that's really positive. So I think the next time I do a sock, that obviously is not the color work, so I don't have to worry about the number of stitches in the pattern. I'm gonna try 56 on my 2.0s. I almost bought 1.75s the other day because I just still feel like the shape of my stitches is still kind of big. But I don't know, we'll wait on that. Anyway, so for what it was, the project was, you know, practice color work so that when you do a color work sweater, everything is good, and that for sure was a success. The reason why I switched back to the pink at the bottom is because I knew I would not have enough of the brown. So after I finished the decreases, I went back to the pink yarn. And there was supposed to be another bar of color work at the bottom, but I was like, no, I'm good. I just wanted to get through, I think this was a 40 row color work pattern. And yeah, I think I kind of got and so I tried it fully continental with 2 strands in my left hand. And then I think what I've settled on is 1 strand in each hand. I think that, especially when there are significantly fewer of one color than the other, like your secondary color, I think it makes a big difference. If I'm going back and forth and it's more like, you know, one of these rows where it's almost equal, then I think I can do the 2 on one side. But in general, I think it was better holding my contrast color in my other hand. All right, so works in progress. You guys might remember this. This is the Catkin Sweater that I started during lockdown. It's this beautiful yarn from Fru Valborg, and it has this really cool stitch pattern. And I got, you know, probably 2/3 of the way through, and I put it down for, 2 months, 3 months. And now I'm having a hard time picking it up, figuring out exactly where I am. They want you to do short rows within the lace pattern, which kind of stresses me out. I think I might frog this. I know it seems like a shame because I've done so much, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I really love this yarn. This is all at 1 skein, by the way, 1 skein. I just don't know that I'm gonna love the finished product for the amount of work I'm gonna have to continue to put into it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I almost think I need to look at it as this was my quarantine knit and it served the purpose of chilling me out and making me happy with these bright colors during quarantine. And now it's okay to let it go. So I've never frogged anything that I've been this far along, but it feels like that might be the right option. So yeah, maybe.